Yongjing County, Linxia Autonomous Prefecture, Gansu Province. I think that not everyone in front of the television might understand the Linxia Hui Autonomous Prefecture, but from our textbook, you might understand this location. And for the extreme sport like paragliding, you might think that this might be a quite peculiar, dangerous, extreme sports far away from our day-to-day practice. And some of our viewers might have a quite solid impression of the Yellow River, that its watercolor is yellow. But today, we are going to have another view of the Yellow River, which we'll see a blue water running through the valley. So today, we are seeing a lot of the paragliders preparing for their championship. For this time's championship, we welcome around 15 different enthusiast athletes to participate in this competition, and it's been divided into two parts of the competition. One is speed limited competition, another is not a limitation competition. It's just like the F1 competitions in the sports vehicle. And if you are using an adjective to describe the championship, it's like targeting the final target. I think at around 12 a.m., we are going to witness the speed limitation part of the championship officially started. So here we see all the sports participants are preparing. So before the competition started, we like to give you a quite small video clips to introduce you the sport of paragliding and give you another view of the beautiful landscape in China. Welcome back. I believe that many of our viewers, after watching these video clips, might wonder whether they can have the similar experience in the sky. Some of the viewers might wonder that there is also a blue part of the Yellow River, and for Gansu Province, it has such a picturesque scenery. So let's have another view about the Yellow River and its valleys. After researching and reading many different background information, I find that this part is a quite important juncture of the Yellow River. So my question is that after researching all the background materials, I have a question for all the dear viewers. There are 3 gorges of the Yellow River. So do you know which 3 gorges are? Do you know their name? And once you mentioned about the Liujiaxia Valley, you might think of the Liujiaxia Hydropower Station and Liujiaxia Waterfall. All of this is located in the Yongjing County of the Gansu Province. So here I like to invite one of the experts from the local county, Director Cheng, from the county, to give us an introduction. So in the morning, when I asked her about her experience in the paragliding, she told me that she actually had an experience of the paragliding. The day before yesterday, it was the foundings of the People's Liberation Army, and this year we also celebrate the 70 years anniversary of the foundings of PRC. So today we are going to give you a full view of the Yellow River, celebrating all these 2 important events. Many people, when they think of Gansu Province, they think of the sands, they think of the dry weather, but they never thought an important part of the Yellow River is located here. Dear viewers, I'm the deputy head of the Yongjing County from Gansu Autonomous Region. So here we are actually at the event and starting off ground of the 2019 Paragliding National Championship. So for the paragliding, it's not included in one part of the ground. It including the start-off areas and also the land-off areas. And also, for the special regions which we are going to uphold the paragliding championship, it has a lot of requirements about the wind directions. Right now, we are standing at the start-off ground with it's actually 2,300 meters above the sea level. We are looking at a quite wide space, which is a part of the famous Liujiaxia Hydropower Station. So we talk about the 3 gorges in the Yellow River. We all know that Liujiaxia is one part of the gorges. And in Gansu, we have 20 different scenery spots, and we believe that our county belongs to one part of the scenery spots. We have the Liujiaxia Gorges, Yanguoxia Gorges, and Linxia Gorges, with 2 beautiful lakes dotted in between. And we also have the Taiji Lake. Which behind it we have seen a wetland. There is a lot of tourism resources for the Yongjing County, although it's being located in the northern west part of China. We have the general landscape and scenery just like the water regions. So the day before yesterday, when I started off my preparations here, I believe at the time the weather was quite good, but right now we see a little bit smoke rising from the lake, and so here we also going to introduce all the viewers that all the parachutings has a quite strict requirement to the meteorological conditions and also the aerodynamic conditions. Although we planned to start off at 12 a.m., we might adjust the time according to our requirements. This is also an important part for all the participants and athletes to obey. We all know that Yellow River, the water of the Yellow River, is actually going through several different plateaus, carrying all the sands from the plateaus and generating a yellow color in the river. But right now we are basically at the upper stream of the Yellow River. The flowing speed is slower, and all the sands is dropping down from the surface, creating a blue water. So there are several reasons behind this part of the Blue-Yellow River. So we have a saying that throughout the Yellow River, only the part in Yongjing is blue. We are going to see the blue waters in Yongjing. And another part is about the Linxia Hydro Power Station. This is a Chinese self-designed, self-constructed hydropower station. It's also one part of the national projects. After I searched all the materials, I find that when we were building up this Linxia hydropower station, all the foreign experts, during our collaborations, they withdraw their confidential material and designs. But for the Chinese people and engineers, after many years of hard work, we still finished the constructions of this hydropower station. And this is only the hydropower station generating over 100 megawatts power per day. And for the northwest part of China, places where we enjoy such quite wide waterfront areas, Yongjing is actually the only area enjoys such benefits. For the paragliding ground, you might feel that this is only about the data. You talk about the gap between the sea levels and the start-off ground. Later, we are going to have a land-off area at the bottom of the mountain. So the horizontal direction between the start-off ground and also the land-on ground is around 2 kilometers, while the height gap is around 3,000 meters. So how do you feel about the conditions and also the terrains in this Linxia area? To be frankly, this area is one of the best for the paragliding in China. And we can also see that it's one of the best areas in the world. For the start-off area, there are over 80,000 meters, and the total area covers around 64 acres of land. We have been building this paragliding area for many years, starting from the year 2018, around 1 year ago, we built up this camp. Although the camp is quite young, but the history of paragliding in Yongjing enjoys decades of histories. We have so many different paragliding clubs. Even if we don't have such good conditions, many different paragliding enthusiasts enjoy their paragliding here because we have such a huge lake here, and in the lake it's generating upward stream. So for the wind, which is blowing towards different hills for 4 seasons every year, this is generating a quite good condition for the paragliding, the sport itself. So here, actually, everybody is waiting for the wind to come through. So can you give us more introductions about the wind speed? Which range of the wind speed might help with the best performance of the paragliding? Many different national champions and national sport bureaus listed the paragliding as one of the most dangerous events and sports. If you want to have more experience about it, you should have your own hand-on experience. So before you went through the paragliding, did you prepare a lot? Or so before when officially upheld the 2019 Paragliding Championship, we also talk to many different enthusiasts. If you think it's very dangerous, it might be that you are not well prepared. If you are 100% prepared, you will be safe and sound. It's just like riding a vehicle, riding a car. If you are well prepared and you obey the rule, there will not be any danger. So for the Yongjing County, since we are going to be one of the organizers of these sports, we are going to provide the best conditions, and we should understand every single rules for these sports. As long as we are following the rules of the sports, we believe that it will be safe. This also works for every different industry. So when you are trying the paragliding, so when you at the moment when you jump off, do you feel quite nervous? Yes. All of my fears is actually happened before I do this paragliding. It's because before you do the paragliding, you will feel that it's a little bit dangerous. So there's an upward arrow flow. Lift or the parachute, you will not feel that it's dangerous, and when you are looking at the view, it will help you to forget all the fears. The day before yesterday, I went here. I feel it is very visible, and the river, the Yellow River, is blue and clean. Today, we see the smoke gradually rises from the valley. Yesterday, we see a quite clear distinction between the sub-branches of the Yellow River and the Yellow River's mainstream. So it might be because of the rainy weather yesterday or last night. In one branch of the river, we see the yellow areas much larger than what we saw yesterday. The mainstream of the Yellow River is blue, and we see several entries. We call this 大下河 branch. It actually covers about 30 different kilometers within the areas of Yongjing County. And we also have the Yinchuan River, deriving from one of the origins of the Yellow River. So if you turn off the mountains, you will see the Linxia entry. You will see one of the most important areas celebrating the Buddhas with 1,600 histories, featuring stone caricatures. I heard that all the protections of this area is under the protections of Dunhuang Research Institution. In Gansu, we have 3 different celebrating sculpture areas for the Buddha and Buddhism. For one, our part is about the stone sculptured Buddhas and also the Buddhism impressions. 1,600 years ago, we actually name it one of the important tragedies of the Buddhism history, because for 1,600 years, all the monks kept cultivating all the Buddhas and his innovators. Around 1,600 years ago, all of these Buddhism captures are being started to build up here. So that is to say, our area is providing an insight for all the histories of Buddhism captures and Buddhism statues in China. This is also an area blending the western part of China with the eastern part of the history. We bordered the Qinghai Province and connected. The Yellow River actually connected our county together with Huangtu Plateau and also the Qinjiang Plateau. From the history, in the Silk Route region, this is actually a conjunction area between the different parts of the Silk Route and also including the Linxia Buddha Stone cultivators. We believe that we also enjoy the Danxia terrain. So since I came here, everybody used a word to describe the Yellow River, the red mountains, and also the white earth. That is to say, at the middle part of the mountain, it's red, and this is actually a part of the Danxia terrains. And on top of the mountain, it's white. So we will see that there is a word about this real area. For all the mountains, it would be white in the lower part and red in the upper part. So you will see the terrains covered, the yellow earth covered the white Danxia terrain. So for the Yellow River is running through a snake shape in this area. There is a small turn in our Danxia County. So for the Yellow River, they are actually running through the county from east to west in our county. I am standing here, and there are several feelings from my heart. I enjoy the beautiful and the picturesque sceneries of our motherland, while we see a lot of landslidings or the yellow earth covered different part of the terrain. It's not as happy as I imagined. The third part is about the paragliding enthusiasts. They came here around 10 years ago. The general public has a quite good wish for the beautiful lives and happy lives that they want to enjoy. Around 10 years ago, they still need to satisfy with their basic demands. But right now, we have the economic capacities and to build up this grant. This is also made up with the general public's demand for better life and for a happier life. So this 10 years journey means that all the paragliding enthusiasts coming from other different parts of China or even from Japan, US, and the European countries to enjoy the paragliding here. That's the reason why we want to build up this Linxia Paragliding celebration ground. This will also help the local people to going out of their poverty deprivation area. So can you give us about more introductions about these poverty alleviation efforts from the local county? At the very beginning, we built up this camp to do more poverty alleviation effort. It's the Zhaosha County under the Yongjing town. The local public, they don't have a quite good background information about the paragliding. But before we built up this paragliding ground, so they think that when the enthusiasts came before, the general public actually helped the enthusiasts and the athletes to line up all of their wings and wingspans. They actually ran several different motors and vehicles to help the enthusiasts. We have this industry prepared for the paragliding. After we built up this paragliding campus, more and more general public will enjoy the benefit from these events, and with more enthusiasts and athletes comes to this ground. The general public is going to provide all kinds of services to the athletes. This is an effort from the local governments to make them understand better about these events, to enjoy more and more about these local sports. Today we plan to give you a view about the blue part of the Yellow River, but for the reasons of the weather, we cannot show you. So here we switch to the video clips to let everybody enjoy the blue part of the Yellow Rivers, these picturesque sceneries. Today, it's around 12 a.m. We should start it according to the plan. But all the athletes are waiting here while all the judges and trainers is waiting for the appropriate meteorological conditions. Can you give us Can you introduce me one of the athletes? Let's have a random interview with all the athletes to understand how they feel about the Yongjing County. So here we actually talk about the lines of the parachute. The lines and also the connecting part of the parachute is quite strong, but if you actually step inside, it will mix up all the mods with the lines. So can you give us an introduction of these windspans? Are you well prepared? Yes, we are prepared. You are 70 years old. Where do you come from? From Guangdong Province. So how long did you do this sport before? Around 20 years. At the very beginning, I do my paragliding in Guangdong Province. Can you compare the Guangdong's condition or the Liujiaxia's condition or other different paragliding ground? I don't do the comparisons. For each one of the campus, it has its own features. I enjoy every features of the campus. And if you can fully play your own advantages, it would be a world-level campus. So it's no use to. So can you give us a more introduction about these terrains? I think that the lake is actually give us a lot of stabilization effort. The second part is that the total shape of the mountain is quite good. The fourth part is that the general meteorological conditions is also quite good. And recently, I checked about the meteorological conditions. It's quite stable for this period of time. You are one of the experts in the paragliding. That means you also have understandings of the terrains and also the meteorological conditions, right? For one good paraglider, it should be an expert in the meteorological field. Sometimes we might be more precise than the meteorological experts. We can predict a small area for its local weather and conditions. For the bigger and mega environment, we left it to the meteorological bureaus from the local governments. But as a paraglider, as long as we understand the local meteorological conditions, is very important in our paragliding spots. If there is any airflows might occur and if there is any abruptly change in the airflow, It might be generating some of the dangers, but before we design the paragliding activity, we will be fully prepared and should do all the preparational work at 100%. So before that, I was interviewing and surfing all the surfers. I believe that they are also quite well prepared for their events at the time. For many different tourists, they also feel that the moss and sands might endanger their lines. If you have cut from a horizontal or vertical perspective, it will cut off the line sharply. For the lines, it's quite resilient. It's also quite hard, but a sand from the horizontal area might work just as another cutter. Don't step into my line. No matter for the surface of the parachute, the lines are fixed, right? I think for the different parachute, you have different lines. The more sophisticated the sport is, the fewer the line is. It means that it might generating a higher requirements for the athletes. So how many lines do you have? We don't talk about the number of the lines, we actually talk about the length of the lines. So the total length of my line is around 216 meters. Some of the lines are providing the dynamics. Some of the lines are used for control. The lines are used to control the wing's surface and the wing's stability. Are we going to change the wings according to the wing speed? No, because the wing actually can be adapted, the parachute can be adapted to many different conditions. Currently, the very important guarantee for the sport of paragliding is that the speed of the wind should be under level 6 wind speed. That's an important guarantee of the safety. If the wind is stronger, you might be better prepared, or we might abandon this event. So for all these sports athletes, we should have the fear and respect for the Mother Nature itself. So during your sports, you might have another view of the landscape. The longer you spend in the air, the more viewer you have, the more respect you will have for the Mother Nature. This is a quite green spot. Some of the friends asked me yesterday, do you think it's a very international campus? I think that there's only one country can invest in such a huge campus, creating all kinds of conditions. We are really thankful for the local government's efforts, but I hope that if it's greener, it will be better. With your 20 years experience, how do you feel about the wind speed? I think that we can fly and start off at this wind speed, but we cannot fly high. If we want to fly high, it has nothing to do with the wind. It has the very close relations with the upward airflows. But currently, I don't feel there is any upward airflows. So here all of us are waiting for the upward airflow. The judgings and the competitions actually lies at the athletes' hands to control the airflows. Every different campus has its own features. If they can fully play their features at the maximum, that would be the best. But finally, for the sport itself, you should be safe. Your safety should one of the priority. Should be one of the priorities. It's just like driving a car. The newbies, they are fear for driving, but after a longer period of time, sometimes they are more fearless than the decades of the drivers. This is not good. This is a scientific spot. You don't think, you should not misunderstand it as a dangerous spot. There's no dangerous spot itself. There's only the dangerous people, the dangerous athletes and controllers. If you obey the rules, you are safe and sound. So if you want to do the promotion work on one campus or one spot, you should give them a full introduction of the sport itself, about the rules and also about the campus. Are you one of the... You came here all by yourself, right? Yes. Because for the championship, it requires the athletes to be under 60 years old. That's the reason I came here. I came here to give a hand about the championship. So here we are going to interview another important guest, who is Mr. Xue Feng. Let's have an interview toward the World Champion Paragliding. So we have is CGTN. So we heard that you got a champion in the fixed spots of the paragliding World Championship. Are you only participating in the fixed position part of the events? Yes. I interviewed one of the participants. He's 68 years old and he could only have the hands-on experience, and he has over 20 years old experience, so he is doing the service here. So how about you? Are you participating in the two parts, fixed position or speed up part? So here, through this national-wide championship, this is one of the highest level championship in China. It's a rare opportunity for our community, and we think that this is a must opportunity. Or for these championships, is it happened every year or every 4 years? I think that the championship happens only every 4 years, but for the paragliding championship, the championship actually happens every 1 year. But for the national level paragliding competition, the requirements for the campus, the requirements for the certifications of the athletes, the organizing capacities poses a lot of challenges. So the last championship, it was upheld 4 years ago. From Chinese perspective, this is the highest levels championship in China. So for the professional athletes within China, we are definitely going to participate in this championship. I have been participating in this paragliding championship for over 12 years. I am based in Shenyang, Liaoning Province. Can you give us a basic introductions of this campus? So I feel that the air is quite clear and the scenery is very beautiful. The temperature at these times of the year is quite suitable for the paragliding events. The water is blue, and it's not the yellow river as we expected. This totally changed our image about the yellow river. So our mother river is such a beautiful river at its upstream part. So sitting in this start of ground with this vast view, we feel that it's just like the Alps in Europe. We like to do the paragliding here. I never have a experience of the paragliding before, but yesterday when I was selecting all the background informations with one tourist and actually interviewing one tourist, they told me that once you start off, the total trajectories will be quite long because the requirement for the paragliding is going to be obstacle-free airspace. There is no obstacles creating a lot of damage or fears for the athletes. For a light start off, and it will make the athletes to feel quite free. This is going to fully demonstrate the Christmas of the aircrafts. Can you give us introductions of all the equipments? So let me give you a brief introduction of all the equipments. This is the T-shirt I'm going to wear. We see a sky riding on top of this T-shirt. This is my nickname. So here we give you a brief introduction. This is actually the head part of the parachute. In this parachute is a two-layer collar with its upper surface and the lower down surface. In the middle of that, there is the canvas because of the cord. So after we floating the air inside of the upper surface and the lower surface, it will be fully blown up to be flowing in front of the air. There are over 100 different lines, and it is actually connecting the sitting areas. And it's just like for the athletes, they are just like sitting in a chair. We call it the harness. After facing toward the wind, we operate it through this brake. There's two brakes at our hand, one at the left hand, one at the right hand. If you want to turn left, you stretch the left part brake. It's very easy to start off and land off. And under the correct operation, it's just like climbing ladders. This is the inside the harness. There's one important part, which is called the reverse parachute. This is like a plan B for these parachutists. If there is any emergency happening in the air, we open up the reverse parachute, and within 4 seconds, it will open up and help us to safely land it on the ground. This is an important part of all the equipments. In the harness, we actually covered all the harness with the sponges. Apart from that, we also have compartments, which is going to store all the parameters and also the phones and also all the other stuffs. So here is our helmet. You must wear your helmets just like when you were driving a vehicle, driving a motor. Another important part is about the parachuting computer. It's like the parameter, giving you all the information. It's just like a GPS, providing the heights, the locations, and these are the major different equipment when you were flying. And we also have several other different facilities and equipment. So here, can you give us, you can, through this GPS interface, you can track your speed, your heights, you flying time, and also your flying trajectories. This can be recorded globally, and all the information will be sent back to the information center. This is quite professional equipment, but even if you are quite professional, all of this, for the sake of the safety, is all one part of the collecting information for the sport itself. And it's just like the parameters. It will guarantee the safety of your flights. We planned to start off at 12 a.m. Why do we delay the postpone the start-off period? Currently, we are actually designing about the flying. So everybody is actually trying to design the course about this parachuting and paragliding. And we are going to set up different trajectories for the different athletes. It's just like a visual spot in the air. We actually design the trajectories, and the blue point is where we are targeting. You must fly towards there within a certain radicus, and the GPS will remind you that you have successfully hit it, and then you fly to the second spot, and then to the third spot, and after collecting the 3 different spots, you're flying back. The more spot you collected, the quicker you came back, the higher the point you get. This is the telecommunication equipment. For the athletes, we are using this to talk to the ground. This is also one important equipment. After 12 years or 30 years paragliding, do you have some important memories? In the paragliding, we might be meeting up with different meteorological conditions. Sometimes it's easier and very conducive to our paraglidings, but sometimes when the weather is against us, it will make you feel really hot. But as a mature paraglider, we can successfully tackle the challenges, and the event itself, the spot itself, is also a quite safe spot. After I interviewed with an old gentleman who is around 68 years old, he's doing all the trials of the paragliding. So he's actually doing all the checks about the weather conditions. So he have done a trial in the air, we will collect all the information and design the trajectory according to his requirements. So after now, the judges all come from the insiders of the industry, that China National Paragliding Association. As long as the judges have the experience, so how about the certifications of the judges? I think that all the association, all the memberships of the association, all the judges are actually have a quite enriching experience in the paragliding, the sport itself, and they were also very good athletes in their lifelong career. So as long as you are quite good judges, you were quite good athletes. So there is a butterfly on top of your parachutes. We hope that it could bring you good luck. So we always have a quite colorful parachute, and the wing is also quite colorful. We believe the paragliding, the sport itself, is actually a perfect combination between the nature conditions, the weather, and the sportsmen themselves. So it actually means a harmony between the nature and also between the weather, and also the athletes, their body conditions. Today we are participating in the speed up part of the competition. We heard that you are going to have a trajectory which is over 15 different 6 kilometers. So we actually set this up according to different meteorological conditions. As a part of the competitions, the actually set up not that difficult part of the. If today the weather condition is very good, we will design a quite long trajectories. We will ask every athlete to fly into another part of the lake, another side of the lake, land it, and then get back. But today we suffered from all the smokes rising from the river. Relatively speaking, the trajectory they designed is very conservative. So it's not easy for us to give you a prediction about the total trajectories, and we need the technicians and judges to give us a conclusion later on. During the competition, the athletes might fully play their skills in the air, and they should reach. There are four different levels of the paragliding: A, B, C, and D. But for our national-wide championship, it's around all the athletes should be more than sea level, because the speed for the paragliding is around 50 kilometers per hour, and sometimes the maximum speed might be reaching over 60 kilometers per hour. Sometimes for me personally, I can even speed up at around 80 kilometers per hour. Are you going to prepare how many wings or parachute are you going to prepare? One part of the parachute. They don't allow me to change the parachute during the part. You cannot switch your vehicle when you were doing the car sports event, right? Because at the very initial competition, the speed is not there that quick, and I see that some of the people. Can you give us more introduction about the other sportsmen? To give us more introduction.
那我们就在这个附近吧。好，那看着它起飞。好。对，像他现在所做的这个工作是，我跟大家说一说啊，他现在正在做穿装备的准备。就是首先呢，他把坐带要穿上，然后呢，我们这个坐带有3道。
He's actually wearing all of his equipments. First, he put the harness in front of him. So there are 3 different straps about the harness: the leg strap, the chest strap, and also the shoulder strap. All of these straps need to be fully connected. And he's actually doing all the checks before the start off. And he also checks about whether there is any release or any relax in the reverse parachuter, and he also checks about his telecommunication devices. So he also checks about the air conditions. Are there any blockage in front of him? And he also sets up a final line. If it's successful, it will. If it's a successful start off, he will fly out. But if he cannot reach his final line without start off, he will stop and repeat his motions before. He's wearing a white helmet. He's coming from Xining County, from Qinghai. He's one of the best athletes in the country. We call him Masa. So, he is a policeman in his daily life, and also I am actually an artist in my daily life. Although this event, let's see him. Currently, he's doing the reverse start off. So, with a small jump, he successfully started. The parachute itself, once you reverse it toward the air, it will automatically start. So with the airflows and the aerodynamics of the air, he successfully started. We see him tuning his directions with an S-shape. That is for the aerodynamic reasons. The closer he is toward the mountain, the better he will use the air as one of the facilitators of his flight. This is another athlete preparing for the event.
营地的一个主要的负责人，我们的薛教头，给大家打个招呼，央视新闻打个招呼。你好，你好，各位观众朋友。
This is another guest we have invited. Dear viewers, it's really an honor to meet you, to invite you to see the 2019 National Paragliding Championship. We plan to start off at 12 a.m. Are we waiting for the better paragliding conditions, or are we waiting for some of the reports or procedures from the judges? This is actually the trials we have conducted so far. The real competition has not started. We are actually waiting for the notice of the organizing committee. Once we can officially start it, all the athletes will obey their rules. We have interviewed several different athletes, or some of them are elder, some of them are professional, some of them are amateur. All of them has a quite good feedback to this campus. So comparatively speaking, this is one. Can I say that this is one of the best campuses in China? Yes, absolutely. We can actually renounce it as one of the best paragliding area in China. No matter for its heights, its terrains, the weather conditions, and the meteorological conditions, it's one of the best and the top area and top campus for this region. And for this area, basically for the 4 seasons across the year, the paragliding events can happen here. For some of the campus in China, sometimes their airflow is not that stable. The terrain itself enjoys 4 seasons per year upward notions, and it's actually generating quite good local geographical weather conditions. For professional paragliders, they have a good control and good understandings of the local weather conditions and the meteorological conditions, because meteorological conditions is one important part of the event. You need to have a quite good grip of the local conditions. There are 2 parts of the local conditions. One of this is refers to the start of ground. Another local conditions refers to the Yongjing County. The bigger environment is going to interfere with the local environment. As one part of the paragliders, they need to have a quite good understanding of the meteorological conditions. Sometimes it's not about the local weather. They need to understand the weather conditions in the radius of 100 kilometers or even 200 kilometers. Under this weather condition, I think the total distance should be within 50 kilometers. If the meteorological condition is better, the radius would be larger. Yes. Up to now, the weather condition is not guarantee 100-kilometer clearance. Once the distance or the clearance is very good, it actually facilitates us. So how long? What is the longest distance? I fly from Lanzhou to Xining, crossing over around 100 kilometers. So when you were flying in front of in the air, do you feel that it is quite different with the drivers on the ground? I think that everyone who enjoy a view about the who enjoy an upward view about the land might give you another atmosphere, might give you a different. You will be all to the nature after you really view the landscape of China. So we are still waiting for the organizing committee to give us the appropriate chart for our paragliding, but we are all waiting for the appropriate weather conditions. As I talk to you, another important part is about the air pressure, temperature gap, and also the wind speed. So here, how do you think think about the wind speed, I think it's a little bit slower than we expected. For the wind speed, it should not be too quick, too fast, and it should not be too weak. Before I came here today, I heard that. So all the athletes are going to start their preparational work. I heard that all the athletes is going to start at one moment. And I thought before that the athletes might be start off one by one, but actually they are start off from a single ground. So as one of the athletes introduced to me, they might check different points during their journey, and they mark their journey by a GPS calculator. This is not a virtual calculator. For each fixed point, this fixed point actually existed. We have the computers and the cloud to keep a record of the trajectories, and it will be one part of the final record. The flying computer will record every single asset about their performance. How precise it can go is around several meters. The athletes are doing their final preparation. Just as Madam Chen told me before, she asked me to have my own hand-on experience about the paragliding. The day before yesterday, when I came here, I see many tourists is actually having their experience. I see a 2-year-old small girl start off her life first paragliding experience. Even if I have no experience about paragliding under the professional experts, with the help of the professional experts, I can also enjoy my first trip as a paragliding, right? Yes. Right now we are doing all the promotional activity about the paragliding. The promotional activity is not let the paragliders to enjoy the professional paragliding athletes to enjoy the sport itself. It's more about that the general public to understand the sport itself. It's just like what you have said before. We are going to have a different view toward the beautiful landscape, which we will never understand from the ground. At the height of 500 or 600 meters above the sea level, you will have different feelings toward the sceneries. So how do you feel about that? You will feel that this is such a beautiful and picturesque landscape. I have been flying for over 20 years, and I fly in many different areas in this country, but so far, this all and this also rises from the bottom of my heart. And I will feel my heart beat faster when I see these beautiful views of China. So we are flying toward these directions, or we are going to flying through a snake-shaped trajectory. So today's events, in the speed-up area, we have a rise-up area for the paraglider athletes to gaining up their heights, and once they are higher, they can actually officially start up their journey. This is a quite strict competition. Before the competition, you cannot release the different directions of the trajectories, and once the athlete is in the air, they can check the information and start the trajectories. All the points and the trajectories are set up, and it's all being stored in the local locations. And we believe that all of the information will be recorded in the computer, and once they started, every single point will be recorded in this part. And for everybody, once they are reaching the final point in the land of campus, they are going to have a countdown, and at that time, they are going to design the different times, and in the land-off ground, we are going to draw a red line to calculate the time. Why do we have this impression before? So with so many different professional athletes start off, is there going to be any sprinkles of different lines? And for every single times of the start off and land off, it's not going to be. They are not going to be sprinkled together. For the athletes themselves, they might control the different performance, and they might be award several different each other athletes. It's just like they have their own aero traffic rules. They should follow their own aero traffic rules. I have been talking to another professional athlete before. He told me before that if a new athlete is actually flying together with a more mature, more experienced athletes, the mature athletes is going to avoid the new athletes or new flyers. How do you feel about that? Do we have this kind of pride in our trajectories? This is a misunderstanding in our industry. Let me explain further. We have a whole rule of the traffics in the air. I think one thing is quite clear. The higher position should be awarding the lower position. The faster parachute should be awarding the lower parachute. And there are also two positions of the parachuting. One is near the surface of the mountain, another is relatively far away from the surface of the mountains. And the nearer parachute should be avoiding the relatively farther parachute. And for all of the participants in the parachuting events, they should fully obey the rules of the paragliding. Are there any tourists who did not obey the rules and doing their paragliding before? No, I don't see any, because for every single paragliding enthusiasts, they have their own fears and respects of these events. When they see these high mountains, they see these beautiful landscapes, they always will rising in front of from the bottom of their hearts, and they will strictly follow the guidance of the judges and directors, and also their coaches. So we call this kind of the harness as a ship-like harness. It will help us to reduce all the resistance from the air. It will help us to find the best curve toward the air. So how many tourists who's going to have an experience here? So far, we are having so many different viewers, and every day we are going to see several different tourists, several dozens of the tourists who are here to have to enjoy their experience of the paragliding. We heard that the vertical gap between the land-off areas and between the start-off areas and also the landing area is around 500 meters to 600 meters. So can you tell us about the distance? If we start up here, under the normal weather conditions, it will take us about 8 minutes. We are all waiting for the official start of the paragliding events. So for the for all the athletes, they basically know each other, because right now we require all the athletes who enjoys the certifications above the sea level to participate in the national campaign. So for the athletes who actually have overseas levels certifications, they might have years experience in the paragliding events. So they know each other several years and decades ago. For all the athletes, they are preparing for the events. So here, we have switched to another video clips about the beautiful views of the spot paragliding itself and also the valley itself.
好的，欢迎回来。其实呢，通过我们刚才的介绍以及我们的短片呢，我们是已经领略到了就是当地的一个
Welcome back. I believe that with our introductions and these small video clips, you might have a basic understanding of the paragliding the sport events. But everybody is looking for the start of these events. We are expected to see this competition to be officially started at 12 a.m. But right now, for the meteorological conditions, it's not very suited for the start of the conditions. So we are still waiting for the official start of the events. But before that, we have also talked to the local campus. For this experience part, as long as the coaches and also we meet up with the requirement of the campus, it would be okay for us to be a part of this event. So we talk about this is actually the highest national championship about the paragliding, and everybody is waiting for the best conditions to be here. But unfortunately, we are quite thrilled to see these events. Later on, I will have my experience because I never, I have never had an experience of the paragliding before. So I feel a little bit worried, but I don't. Yesterday, I actually hurt my legs. I don't know whether this will affect my journeys and my studies as a paraglider athlete or paraglider enthusiasts. But I think I will enjoy the thrill in the sports a lot. The championship is divided into two parts. One is the speed up area, speed part, and a speed up part. Another part is about the fixed position part. Today, we are going to see the speed up part. For the females, if the weather is going to left us with regret, later on, we are going to see the athletes. It would be still okay because we are going to see a series of the live stream, including every part of the championship and tournament. The fixed position paragliding is just like shooting a target in the air. After start off from the beginning campus, it will be just like hitting up the targets in the land of ground. We heard that the distance should be within the radicals of 3 to 5 different parameters. Later on, we are going to give you more introductions from the finish campus to about the information about the fixed position composition. The male athletes will start just as the female athletes. For every time when I was interviewing the athletes and also the coaches, they actually taught me the same concept. No matter for an enthusiastic or professional athletes, you must obey the rule and have you respect and fear and awe to the Mother Nature herself. The requirements to the terrains and to the wind is quite higher. We are actually standing on top of the Liujiaxia hydropower station. Last year, we planned to start this national tournament, but with high rising water levels in the Yellow River, we actually shortened the tournament period. No matter for the start-off areas or the landing part, we should obey the rules of the nature. When you jump off, you will have different feelings to the Mother Nature. All the athletes are waiting quite patiently. The coach actually is trying to find me one parachute. So before I officially started, that I should remind you that for every single spot, you should be fully prepared to guarantee you. I have bought the insurance before I tried the parachuting.
没事，因为我们这个要实现这个随时的直播，您能不能边准备，然后边给我们介绍一下？有一个设备是。我现在拿的这个是你的坐带，就是你的乘客坐带，上去之后是坐着的。这个是我的。其他的再没什么。这个是平常乘客用的，他们乘客用的就是需要就是。
This is my harness.
直接带起来吧，就直接就进行。对。
This is the compartment which stores
我等一下给你讲注意事项。
all of my operational stuff.
体重的要求最高不能重于多少
？Later on, I will give you more introduction.
我180还可以接受。那我现在是就和背书包一样。
So I think that I'm 118. I'm 19 kilograms. Is it okay for me to sit in the harness? Yes, it's just like wearing a school bag.
到舒适，但是也不能太松垮是吧？哦。
If you were wearing the leg strap or the chest strap or the shoulder strap, there should be a fixed length between your body and also the strap.
但是现在正常的这个行走是没问题，小跑也没问题，就是落地的时候，因为我怕是有这个，毕竟是有惯性。
So the day before yesterday, I hurt my leg. Is it going to hurt me when I was landed? Because we are going to let you sit in the harness to protect your leg. So here I'm going to introduce you. If a tourist came to this spot, how will he or she enjoy the spot? First, he listened to introductions about the rules. And he or she will give you their insurance. And after you take off, you should not run very fast. You should run according to the air and feel comfortable with your run. That's the speed you are going to use. Of course, I will speed you up in the process. I will fully follow your instruction. So because I'm going to do the sports by myself, let's switch to another camera. I'm going to use my phone to do the live stream. Can I cover my microphone? I can put it in our compartments. Let me put it in your compartment. Since you are fully prepared, we are going to switch our signal channel. Let me put my microphone in my compartment. I can pass you microphone later on. Do you have anything else that you want to do in the air? What kind of view do you want to get in the air? I think I will be quite nervous in the air. I cannot think of any other demands. Prepared? Fully prepared? Yes. You are contacting with the basement, right? Because the spot is about to start because we are not going to influence their journey. We are going to have a quite direct journey from the start area to the landing campus. I think that as long as we don't interfere with the competition trajectories, let's switch to my phone, and we are going to have the view from my phone during the journey. I'm thrilled at my heart. I never think of jumping from an area which is as high as 600 meters above the sea level. My coach is sorting up all of the lines by himself. Let's switch the voice channel to the phone camera. Don't lean forward. Are you prepared? I think all the live stream equipments are well prepared. Yeah, I'm fully prepared. Let's count down. So I think that feeling something uncertain. I'm really nervous. So you are controlling the wind direction, right? Yes, we are trying to find the best position. Let's count down. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, go.
能到这个程度了，我是个光脚。可以了没？我这人要不下来，我扛不住了。这情况你先下来吧。那个王志民跟好。哎，对，王志民跟好。哎，扛不住了。他俩能飞到河那边不？注意，得好一会儿啊。
啊，那我也站起来，谢谢谢谢。好，
来，等一下啊，这个里面装你设备。
我
这个。好。来，没事，你手出来。
好，这个。
Successfully landed. My coach is helping me with my live stream equipment.
可能第一次起飞时候，您第一次体验的时候，估计跟我差不多吧。
对，多多
稍等一下啊，
有点紧张。
I actually trembled a lot in my first flight. But I believe my coach, in his first experience, he also trembles like what I did
第
before.
一次，您从事这个教练工作多久？
今年是第5年了。
How many years have you been
现在是专职
practicing the
就是
coaching?
做这个。
It's my 5th year in coach.
对，把爱好当
I'm a
成了
professional coach.
一种职业。
您多大年龄
I actually
我24。
24，那也就您十几岁、
Turn
19岁的时候
my
就开始玩这个滑翔。本
professions
地人吗？
from
不是，我
my
是西安的。
enthusiasms.
好的。
I am
谢谢
actually
您，那可能这个
from
设备可能
Xi'an
就要
and I
麻烦您
do
再
my job here. Thank you very
整理一下
much
好吧？
for your help. We really
其实
thank
我
you
们
for
现
your
在可以
professional
看到的
help.
是，大家可能会有一个疑
So
问
here
啊，
we are seeing
就是我
about
们
the
从
landing
高
ground.
处飞到底
You
下
might
之
have
后，
this question that
我们这个教
from
练员
the
怎么回去
landing
呢？
spots
所以
to
这就涉及
this
到了一个
from the starting spots
产
to
业链
this
的问题
landing
了。我们当地的好多
spots.
从事
How
这
will
种
my coach
运输的
came
一些
back
小面包车就在这边
to
不
the
断
landing
的
spots?
把这个游客拉上去，或者把
Many
我们的
local
装备跟
residents
教练员再拉回我们的起飞
have
场。
parked
而且
their
接
van
下来如果
near
说
the
当地
landing
人
campus,
做这种
and they will carry
缆
my
车
coach
可能会不
back
光
to
会
the
更加
starting
方便我们这
campus.
个
If
营地，
in the
而且
future
可能也会成为一个
they
另
are
外
going
的
to
这个
facilitate the campus with the cable
行，好，
cars,
谢谢您。您
cable
摘了这个帽子
vehicles.
跟
It's going to be
眼
another
镜之后
tourism
是一看您
attraction.
一睹你的
Thank
这
you
个
very
重量。
much.
好，谢谢您，谢谢您哈，谢谢谢谢。那就因为我这边
Thank you
直
very
播还
much.
在继续，您就先收拾您的这个设备，好吧？我再跟大家也再介绍一下。好，
We'll see you later and talk to you later.
你们在绳子。
Don't step in my lines.
其
Don't
实
step in my ropes.
要给大家说的是，我现在是已经到了我们的着陆场。整体的一个感受吧，其实我在起飞之前还是不断
I'm
的
landed.
在心里面暗示自己，
Before I
就是说
officially started my journey,
我说我
I
应该不
feel
会
quite
紧张吧，应
troubled.
该很镇定。其实
I
但是
think that
当你
I'm
双脚
not going to be
离开地
nervous.
面，
But when you
有一股
are
力量
lifting in
拖
the
着你往上
ground
走
with
的时
your
候，
bare
其实
foot,
这种
when there's a force
在当时的那
supporting
一
you
瞬
to
间，
go
其实
upward
还是非常害怕
at
的。
that
但
moment,
是当这个飞行
you are
稳
quite
定了之
afraid.
后，
But when you stabilize
当这
the
个飞行稳
parachute,
定了之后，还是有这种心情来欣赏祖国的这个大好河山。其实我们
you
现在
will
就是在
have the
林家峡水库的这个旁边。
awe for the very nature.
刚才
So
我跟
here
我
I'm
跟
just
我们
near
的
the
主要
Linxia Hui Hydropower
带队的我们
stations.
的教练员
I was talking to our coach
右脚在前天的时候
that
也是在工作的时候
my
不小心
right
断了
leg
所以走路可
my
能
was
观感
hurted
不是很好，而且有点
during
疼。
the
所以
journey.
呢教练
during
员说
my
没问题
work,
他们会想办法用
but
他们的方式来
The coach
减少
still figured out a way for me to enjoy the
所以呢
journey.
就是我觉得不管是年龄大小，因为我
I
记得
feel
我在
that
前天的时候看过2
no
岁多
matter
的一个小女孩
because
包括刚才我们看到
the
的
day
一个
before
18岁的
yesterday,
一个老
I
大
saw a
爷
2-year-old,
飞行了
2 years old small girl
其实我觉得
flying
身体素质的
the
要
paragliding
求其实
paraglider.
严格
And a moment ago, we saw a
一些像
gentleman
心
who's
脏病
over
啊高血压呀或者说
68
是
years
体重
old.
超过
But I heard that
220
for
斤
the
的
patients
这些人
who suffered
不太
from the
适合我们的
cardiovascular disease or the hypertension,
像现在
they might not suited for the paragliding sport itself
从
themselves.
山顶飞到我的山
But
脚下的时候
when I was flying from the mountain to the landing campus, I see this beautiful, picturesque sceneries. Especially, I saw the water, clean water of the yellow water. My awe for the Mother Nature rises automatically from the bottom of my heart. For every one of us, we are dwelling in the city, in a forest of steel and irons, and we can also relax ourselves in the outdoor sceneries. And when you jump off, when your brain turned all blank, you will figure out something. Especially when you're flying in the air, you will have enough time to enjoy the scenery. I'm going to show you.
现在这个就是刚才我在山顶上一直给大家介绍的我们的刘家峡的水库。这个说是水库，其实是就是在
That's the Liujiaxia Lake.
一部分。当黄河水流到这边的时候
It's also a part of the Yellow River.
黄河很黄的
When the waters of the Yellow River fly into these parts, the concept of the Yellow River is not that clear, but all the waters are quite transparent. All the branches of the Yellow River are lying in front of us, but there is only one regret for today's events. The speed up part of the competition has not officially started, but we believe the weather conditions and the meteorological conditions will finally suit us. Since I actually am going to be a part of the competitions. I think the organizing committee is trying to find the best window time for the contestants. We cannot enable all of our viewers to enjoy the competitions, but all the competitions will last for 7 days to the 9th of July, with the speed up sections and also the fixed position section. The fixed position section is just like what I have did before. We drawn several different positions in the landing area. The closer you are to the centers of the vertices, the higher the points you will get. I think later on we will give you more introductions. So this ends today's live stream about the 2019 National Paragliding Championship. The only regret we have is that we did not give you a full view about the competitions of the paragliders. But as a tourist, I enjoy the very good Christmas of the paragliding, the sport itself. As long as you are part of the sports, you will have more feelings to the sports. Personally, I'm still a part of these paragliding events. I was flying like a bird in the air. This is a wonderful experience for myself. This concludes our today's live stream. Because we don't know when the official competition will start it. In the coming days, we are going to provide you a series of the live streams, including the competitions for the fixed positions and also for the timelines. For the coming days, it might be a raining. Sometimes this landing ground might be covered with the floods. So here, I kindly remind all of our dear viewers to pay attention to the river flows. So I'm with CGTN
境县的刘家峡
in Gansu, Linxia Autonomous Region.
希望呢每一个
Liu Jiaxia hydropower stations came back with our live stream. I hope that everybody enjoy the flights,
有一个对待生活的一种积极
enjoy the flying view of the life, and enjoy the pure respects to the Mother Nature herself.
今天的新媒体直播
Thank you very much for watching.
再见。